Nature. There is nothing quite close to it. From a bird's song echoing among the trees to the deep complexity of a spider's web, nature is a wondrous reminder of an immaculate past.
Pristine nature perhaps doesn't exist anymore.
What? Pardon me?
Our presence is noticed throughout nature everywhere.
We've touched everything.
I've been telling stories about nature for the past 70 years, and now you're telling me that there's no real nature left?
Nature is a vague term.
It means a lot of things to many different people.
For me, nature has to do with high biodiversity.
Part of this world that has vegetation or wildlife in it.
It's the habitat in which humans evolve.
The ways in which other organisms don't follow our guidelines.
But also non-living things.
If nature means so many things to many different people, what is nature but a word? A place? A service? A source? A tool?
Perspective of nature very much determines how you interact and how you treat nature.
What do you mean? This doesn't make sense.
Diversity is key. Every species is doing something different. The more different places you have in a landscape, the more possibilities you give for birds and insects, for instance, to survive. Because then the species can choose the area where they like to be. But also the other way around, how plants, birds and insects have an effect on these surroundings. So the continuous interplay between the surrounding and species, for me, that is nature.
When the key to a healthy environment is diversity, how do we reconcile nature with farm fields, ditches, dairy cows? That can't be it now, can it?
These large herbivores are doing lots of beneficial things. Actually, what they're doing is diversifying the landscape. Like here, there's an open area, and that's something that these large herbivores can create, but also maintain, and that provides the opportunity for other animals to settle there.
I see. We should never forget that nature is a resilient and powerful source, a worthy opponent, just like us.
If you see yourself on top of nature, then you are in charge.
In charge? What do you mean by in charge?
We really like to manipulate and influence on such a large scale that, it just boggles the mind sometimes.
That humans evolved in nature doesn't mean that we care for it. Our ancestors had to actively participate in nature in order to reap the benefits of nature in terms of their food, for example. The fact that we can now reap the benefits of nature without experiencing it directly creates a mismatch. It's an evolutionary mismatch.
What? Oh, hold on. A mismatch, you say? I believe we're doing quite well. It's a treat to live so close with the natural world around us. Nature is there for us to enjoy.
If people are not exposed to nature, they are not exposed to something that is vital for their survival and well-being. As this is where our bodies and brains evolved.
We can actually also use it recreationally, and that it's also very healthy to be around nature and to be in a forest.
If people are exposed to green space, their stress levels go down. And they have more positive emotions, less negative emotions.
We can use wood, for example, to build our houses. We can use the food to feed ourselves.
From an economics point of view, try to value that. Look at the different elements of nature and the different benefits that we get from it. for example, recreation or pollination in food production. By putting that value on nature, it forces people that are in the position to make decisions to argue why they make the choices that they make and why they made the trade-offs that they made between, let's say, the benefits and costs that they usually have to deal with.
Who is to blame for following our instincts? What if it's in our nature to make things our own?
Every organism deals with a troublesome environment. If we go up to a beaver and we say, well, you're obstructing the flow of the river, this is harming the way in which the fish migrate, trees are dying, etc. We would never consider to ask him to let nature take its course. This is not a question we ask because we consider its behavior as natural. In the same line, I think it would be hard for us to say, well, stop building cities.
We are also nature as humans. We are, of course, animals like all the other animals as well.
Animals? With gardens this neat?
This is basically an effect of deforestation and overgrazing caused by humans. So if we would take our hands off, this would turn into a more natural setting. That is still natural if we are also part of nature, right?
Perhaps.
So if you say human beings are a part of nature, then it becomes very strange because then everything is nature. I think that's a real challenge because that forces us to look differently at how we conceptualize nature, but also how we deal with nature, how we deal with other organisms.
So, what you are saying is that we are doomed to an eternal game of arm wrestling, a constant fight between what nature is and what we think it should be?
We are very, very control freaks over how our surroundings look. But if we leave a little bit more room, life will find a way, life will appear alongside humans.
That's interesting.
It is possible in agricultural meadows to have a high species richness in combination with food production.
It's all about creating this balance.
There should be enough for all of us.
I would like to see it as some kind of a continuum. Nature does not stop at the nature reserve.
And I think what you want to achieve is some kind of sustainable coexistence. And that's also based on people's willingness to coexist.
So what is nature? To me, nature is still a source of wonder and delight. To you, it can mean anything else.
Nature is basically what people make of it.
Precisely. So, what do you make of it?